felt like your character in the movie had a great character arc too, because he learned to be more selfless and to think about someone beyond himself. Could you kind of talk about that?
Well, I think that we want to see these characters grow. You know, I saw the second one yesterday, and it's just as good as the first one, if not better. And the truth is, the next one gets harder. It doesn't get easier for the people that went west. And I wanted to make that clear, but I also wanted to do it in an entertaining way. Entertaining meaning, can you watch it and go, yes, I'm engaged in this.
What do you hope, younger audiences who kind of haven't gotten the Western world? Actually, my grandfather was in Westerns. He was a Western actor, Bob Tex Allen. But, it's kind of, we haven't had it as much.
Right.
And so what would you hope for the...
My hope is that I can't change where their disposition is about a Western, but I can change perhaps their feelings about it once they watch it and go, maybe that's what my grandpa liked about him, that there was an authenticity. Something real, something was on the line. I even saw myself in the young man in the house and the young man who made his escape. I saw myself, what would I have done? I think our movies, we have to be able to see ourselves.
And the thing about the perseverance and the commitment, I mean, we kind of don't have that today where we have to worry about these huge hurdles to get through, right? But this really shows, the founding of the West for America. So can you talk about that theme of perseverance?
Well, I think that it was a promise, but there was no guarantee. Most people headed west weren't even equipped to know what they were going to run into. And when they got out there, they realized that somebody else had been living there for thousands of years. So there was this conflict, a cataclysmic clash of cultures, and it was one-sided. It was ugly. But I also recognize the resourcefulness of our ancestors who managed to just keep coming. So it was a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. What were kind of the other themes that you loved about it that you wanted to kind of show about the morality of it?
That women are dominant in my movie, because the storylines run through them, how resilient they are, how they work themselves to death, how they just wanted it to be better for their families. And they went where their men took them, maybe didn't have any say in it, and they just made the best of it.
But you guys had great characters, and it really showed, I think both of your characters were showing perseverance through the toughness. Could you kind of talk about your, the hardships that she went through?
I mean, she goes through the worst situation. I imagine she's very resentful of the situation that she finds herself in. She's months away from wherever she came from. It's very dangerous and unforgiving, and I think very different to how it was presented. So she's really trying to make the best of a pretty horrific situation, and it speaks to the resilience of women and the courageousness of mothers and really the role of women in the settlement of this country, which would have been impossible without them. So it's lovely to be in a Western, which is a very male genre, and have a director that's willing to spend some time in the female experience.
Yeah, as a mother with 3 little ones, I appreciate kind of that beautiful, you and your daughter in the movie, kind of that relationship.
Yeah,
so.
It's beautiful. It was beautiful to read and perform as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, for you, I feel like your character kind of was kind of in thinking about everything going on and kind of having moral kind of conversations on what was going on. Could you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, he doesn't understand the frontier war. I think even the Civil War makes much more sense to him, which is kind of a horrific thing to think about. All the characters are searching for something, and he's searching for his horizon, which I think he finds his horizon in her, but like the horizon, you can't touch it, you can't get to it. It's elusive.
And the relationship in the movie that you guys have, it's like, oh, this is the thing that I really want to see in the next one and the next one. And I know you obviously can't say what's going on in the next one, but is there anything you can kind of say that the relationship builds more or anything?
There's more to it that's explored into, right? But
yeah,
wow, it's hard. They're both full of yearning.
Yeah. I always described it as star-crossed, in the
Yeah.
sense of sometimes these people that are searching for something don't realize that it's right in front of them.
What would you say kind of the faith in this of these people getting through this time? What would you kind of say that for audiences to get out of that?
Well, it's the American dream, isn't it? It's like go west, anything is possible. It's such a huge country, and the kind of hope is a big theme of this. in spite of the treacherousness of what that journey was and how difficult it was once they got there, there's this belief in something better, and that still exists in America. This film kind of explores the inception of the American dream.
Yeah. And what a great time period for it to come out before 4th of July and kind of that.
Exactly.
What would you say about that, Sam, of kind of like...
Yeah, I agree. Look, I drove down from Salt Lake City to where we were filming. Took like 4 hours. I was complaining the whole time to myself. And then you pretty quickly, when you get there, realise, well, imagine doing that on a wagon. Imagine doing that with your family, with kids. And you start to have more empathy for what these settlers went through. It was a violent and harsh time. And, they were heading into the unknown. And, this is an examination of that and a celebration of that. And, and in some respect, a reflection of that. So we're trying to figure out how this country was formed and where it can go to.
See, and I don't understand how you were buried. Like, that sounded so horrible. Like, how was that, like, experience of doing that?
I mean, I kind of, in a really weird, sadistic way, enjoy being punished at work. I don't know what it is. I'm like, the harder it is, the more I feel like, yes, I did this. They built a tunnel. Scrambling through that in a corset with a child and heavy skirts was difficult. But the hardest bit was, they built a kind of well in the desert, a hole that they put me and Georgia in, and I covered her with my body to protect her from all of the dirt. But then they just put dirt on top of us and wood planks, and it was intense. It was intense, but it's kind of important in order to play that scene that you feel the intensity.
Yeah, in a way, probably like
no
it immerses
acting required.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it immerses you and you feel like all the emotions.
Yeah,
maybe,
I'm still
that are...
finding the dirt in my yeah. And we were covered in dust, and it was unbelievable where it finds itself.
And
Every orifice.
Being in that environment, I mean, the beauty of it all. Talk about being in the environment, because that was
stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost too overwhelming. And when you watch the movie, you think, well, maybe this is CG, but it's actually not. It's some of the most beautiful part of America out there, and in its expanse, it can almost feel a little claustrophobic because you realize how small and insignificant you really are.
Yeah.
Because it's so overwhelmingly beautiful, and
it's like being on Mars. It's crazy.
You could start to have like...
It's quite it's a little bit hallucinate, whatever the word is, I can't speak anymore, but there's something that's so surreal about that landscape. Nothing moves. There's not trees blowing, it's silent, and then storms come in, and it's so dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
maybe
humbling.
closer to God in a way, because you're like, well, how, this is crazy.
It doesn't look real, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And no photo you actually take is going to do it justice.
No.
Yeah.
But luckily this does.
Yeah.
This draws you into it.
I thought that Luke, your character was kind of a cool character, and he was kind of like the moral compass for this group. Could you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, my character Van Weyden, he's the captain of the wagon train, and he's been elected to do it. He didn't, run to get the job. He didn't seek out the job. So it's interesting that he's been put in that position by the other people on the wagon train, because it is a very important job. And like I say in the movie, or I say it in the second film, where I say I'm just trying to get as many of us as I can, as far as I can. But in terms of being the moral compass, I mean, that's what's interesting is, I'm pretty rough on Hugh, Juliet's husband. I'm pretty rough on Juliet. But it's one of those things where Kevin said at the beginning, he said, I don't want it to be a black hat and a white hat Western where you're good, you're evil. He said, we all have elements of both good and bad inside us, and he wanted that idea to come through. So that's kind of what I thought about while portraying Van Weyden.
And like persevering and committing. Your guys' section was about committing as a unit to get to the place, and I thought that was so probably incredible, like working together as a unit. Could you guys kind of expand on that?
I mean, I feel like that the crazy thing when I was reading diaries, and Ella and I both did read diaries of women on the westward journey on the Oregon Trail, and you're just floored by the fact that everyone was out there for their own reasons, their own, whether it was a hope that they would have a new life or a fresh start, or, be able to create something for themselves, this manifest destiny ideal. Everybody was out there, alone in a sense with their family or whoever they came with, but they were traveling in this pack together. So it really was this weird duality where, you have all these different conflicting personalities, and they're all, you know, have the same goal of making it out there alive and surviving, and have a trusty captain.
And it
you
also
know?
kind of mirrors the, you know, the production of the movie itself. It
100%.
mirrors-
Because
that's-
we all had to shoot, because we're moving in unison, we were all together on set every day, every scene. Even if you thought you weren't in it, you were in the background doing something.
Oh, wow.
And Kevin would bring us all, we would do like a take, and he would bring us all to the monitor to see, you know, you're back there, but you can be playing with this, grab something out of here. I mean, it really felt
Stay
like,
active.
yeah,
That's what
it
he'd
felt
always
like
say.
this teamwork energy throughout, even though it's like every character has their own journey at the same time. And he did such a beautiful job shining a light on each character's journey. You know, in the first movie, you know, especially, but onward in the saga as well. I mean, you really get to dive into an intimate look of all of these characters and what decisions they made to survive out of love, out of fear, out of, you know, the hope that they had for their future.
I love that. Now, it's interesting because it talks about kind of what it is to be like a tough woman, but both of your characters showed that in a different way, I thought. Maybe you can kind of speak on that.
I think it was a tough time for women. There was such a lack of autonomy. Oftentimes, women were embarking on these journeys against their will or at their husband's wishes. And my character, Juliet, is very at odds with her environment. She and her husband, Hugh, are traveling west towards this dream of a new life, but they're so naive about what their journey will entail and the dangers of this journey. And I was so excited to play this woman who we might not like on the face of it, we might find a bit difficult, but who ultimately is an incredible survivor and has much to teach us about collective responsibility and how we can be complicit in violence towards women, and that was really exciting to play and work on with Kevin and with Isabel.
And that's what Diamond really kind of connects with Juliet. I mean, in the first movie, you see they have this sort of, you know, you're faced with these two very different women, like you said, at odds with her environment. And Diamond has been very much raised by her father, along with her sisters, to be prepared for this journey in every possible way. And it's through Juliet that she starts to kind of realize there might be something missing from her life. And she really, you know, they really form a special, intimate relationship because they're two very different women on the same journey, you know, hoping to create something for themselves and survive.
And they teach each other about.
You guys were really interesting characters. Some of the most interesting characters, I thought. Abby, I felt like you had a huge character arc in this movie. Could you kind of talk about that?
Oh, well, I guess the arc is that something devastating happens that she doesn't want to be a part of, so she has to flee. So she meets this man and she goes on the road with him to sort of get away from the event that she's just witnessed. So her life goes from being in one place to having to be on the road and fend for herself, which I think is actually in Marigold's nature anyway. My character's name is Marigold. I think she's very much a woman who is used to fending for herself, and I think she's a gypsy. The town that she was living in, the mining town that she lives in where you first meet her, it was a temporary spot anyway. I think she was always going to run.
But it was sweet because she had this heart for the child, you know, the baby. And so she really kind of started off a little bit selfish or whatever, and then kind of took in the baby in a way, which I thought was sweet.
I think she's doing what's best for the child.
Yeah.
You know, she had to be selfish because she wasn't the property of a man. She wasn't married, so she had to figure out how to survive, and that meant having to fend for herself. I mean, she maybe starts. I mean, yeah, there's a selfish quality for sure, but I don't think that means that she's a cruel person. And when a baby needs needs to survive, I'm pretty sure she's going to be there to help.
Well, during those times, and the movie kind of shows it, like everybody's kind of fending for herself. I mean, your character has this underlying message about his family, where he's got some loyalty to his family, I feel. Could you kind of, but he's quirky in his own way, right? Very different in his own way. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, the Sykes family are clearly the sort of toughest, meanest family out there. They're also probably the biggest family out there. There's quite a lot of them, and we have a score to settle, a debt to collect, as it were. And so we've been sent out to go and avenge our dad, basically. And nothing is going to stop us. Nothing is going to get in our way. We are driven by that soul rage and that soul resentment. And we are going to go and ruin her life.
We felt it. I mean, I felt terrified by you, so you did a good job on that.
Thank you.
How was it for you guys? You know, Westerns were very popular a while ago, maybe in the 50s. My grandfather was an actor, a Western actor, and so I think it's great to like kind of bring this back, and especially this movie has done such a great job in it. So how was it, you know, partnering and doing this and kind of learning more about how the West was going?
Well, I'd never done a Western before, so there was a lot for me to learn, but I think the brilliant thing about this is that I was being asked by Kevin Costner to be in a Western, and he's like the man of Westerns.
Yeah.
He's so averse to it. He's so like in the world of Westerns. He's very much a man of the land. He's like, he immerses himself in it quite a lot. So sort of to do a Western with Kevin Costner was pretty spectacular.
Yeah. What about for you?
I mean, you grow up playing cowboy, and then you get to do it for a living. Like, that's kind of incredible, right? Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the root of any good story, it's all about people. And I think that that's what this movie is about. It's about people. But yeah, to be out in the country where that I love so much, I love this part of the world, and to be making a movie out there was just, yeah, it was awesome.
This is a huge cast, and everybody had such interesting, you know, pairings and everything. You know, how was it on set and the kind of the feeling? Was it a family vibe, or was it, yeah?
Definitely. I mean, my first day, I was called up to have lunch with Kevin at his trailer and sat around with the producers, and we had a bite to eat. And on my last day, I was asked to go back up to the trailer to watch a 10-minute sizzle reel of the movie, and I burst into tears. You know, it's like, that's just the environment that we had down there, and everyone's in the dirt, right? Everyone's in the mud. Everyone's fighting those elements. So yeah, it was. We had to be all together, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like the locations probably did help you even get into the spirit of it, because it was so gorgeous and so.
Yeah, it was so genuine. You're like in the land. Like Moab, where we shot, is so majestic and so sprawling and so epic, which really helps inform where you are, and you're like really in the dirt. And the towns were built in such a genuine way. Like you really felt like you were in these Western towns, and the costumes were very real, and there was cattle everywhere, and you could hear them kicking off. And so I think there were lots of things to help you feel like you were there.
Looks like we got ourselves a bad man right here.
If you enjoy videos that follow your values like ours, and you want to help us continue, go to movieguide.org/donate, because we're actually a nonprofit. You may not know that, but we're working in Hollywood every day to help families have more choices that follows their values. And also subscribe right now.